Hello everyone. Just confirm if I'm audible. Yeah, hello, hi. Yes, can you confirm once, like if I'm audible? Yeah, hi, Raza, hi, hello. All right, so we'll start. Hello, yes, hello. Uh, Hi, Mehul, hello. Uh,
Yeah, hi everyone.
yeah, okay. Yes, okay. So let's start. Hello everyone. Welcome all. Today we have a special guest with us, Mehul Gupta. So he is a data scientist and he's an author of LangChain in Your Pocket, and he's also a founder of Data Science in Your Pocket. Mehul, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, same here, same here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Mehul. Can you just tell us about yourself? Like maybe you can share your experience so far, your current role, and so what inspired you to get into data science and AI?
So I will start off. So basically, I have been working in the AI space for like 5 years now,
Hmm.
more than 5 years. So I have been very much intrigued by the new things that are coming in AI. So I explored the basic classification, then reinforcement learning, computer vision. Now generative AI is going on, so that fascinates me a lot. Apart from that, I have been a very active blogger on Medium as well. So I've
Hmm.
been writing blogs since my college days, and I think it's now 5 to 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple of years back, started off with YouTube also. So the main goal is to teach people so that
Hmm.
people are become more advanced in AI. It's not
Hmm.
like baseline stuff that I go with. So I've been running a publication and YouTube channel with the name Data Science in Your Pocket, and that is why the
Okay.
name of the book also Lang Chain in
Okay.
Your Pocket. So
Yeah.
the whole idea is make AI accessible to everyone. And
Yeah.
last year we published this book also on generative AI so that I can tell people about how to get started with generative AI and the major
Yeah.
framework LangChain. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Yeah, participants, in case if you have any queries, you can start asking that in the chat. All right. All right. So let's start with the very basic, Mehul. Okay. So generally, like generative AI is a buzzword nowadays, right? But generally, people will not understand like, what actually the generative AI is. So how do you like explain the generative AI in simple terms and how it is different from the other types of AI?
So before Chat GPT coming into picture, I think even before that, generative AI was there. There used to be a
Mhm.
concept of GANs. You might have heard
Correct.
of deep fakes. So there was a
Defects.
video of
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
circulating everywhere. This was before Chat GPT. So
Correct.
generative AI, as the name suggests, it is generating something new. Now that
Correct.
can be an image, that can be a
Mhm.
text, that can be an
Mhm.
audio, whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, as you ask, what is the difference between the general AI or machine learning
Mhm.
as compared to
Mhm.
generative AI? So, if I
Mhm.
go in a little technical, in basic
Mhm.
machine learning, you are basically looking at the data and then trying to figure out certain patterns, building out
Mhm.
classifications.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
such models output usually yes or no, most of the time.
Correct.
I'm not,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
in case of generative AI, there is no limits.
Mhm.
They can output you every token, every text, and they're
Mhm.
creating new data rather than
Mhm.
doing a classification on the old one. So this would be
Mhm.
my understanding of generative AI and how it is different from other type of AIs.
That's make a lot of sense. That's great. Okay, so a lot of students. Okay, so generally they have this common doubt. Okay, so they want to get into the data science. So do need to learn coding. Okay, so how? What do you think? Like, how important do you think the coding is someone who want to enter into this field?
See, in data science, there are specifically two roles, what I have figured so far. Three roles,
Mhm,
I would say.
mhm,
One is an applied science role where you
mhm,
are not much into coding, you are importing libraries and going for the business task. Like the business asks you to build a classification, you build it and you go on.
mhm,
There
mhm,
is another role that is research scientist, that who
mhm,
are researching, who are creating these LLMs, like how to train these, how
mhm,
to create the new architectures, like transformers came in. So these are the research scientists, and the third one is an MLE, machine learning engineer, which is more towards
mhm,
software engineering. So
mhm,
if you talk about applied science, it is more
mhm,
of a logical thing.
mhm.
In the language that we use, Python, mostly, all the functions are there. You just need to apply which algorithm should I go with. But
Okay.
if you are a research scientist, you would require a lot of coding at scratch, because
Mhm,
you would be implementing these LLMs step by step. You won't be importing a library from Hugging Face and straight away
mhm,
using it.
mhm.
So it
Correct.
depends
Correct.
upon the role, which role you
Mhm,
wish to move in.
mhm,
Coding is something that
mhm,
is a requirement, but
mhm,
alongside theoretical knowledge takes a higher priority, according to me. You need to know what algorithm to use.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Generally, like, if we talk about, like, there are various programming languages, right? So what do you suggest? I mean, like, so this is the must. Okay, so this is what you need to know. I mean, like, so we have the data structures, and these are the common questions. I mean, like, generally students ask, like, do we need to learn data structures, or do we need to learn Java, or we need to start with JavaScript, or we need to learn the Python? Okay, so can you just give some point on that?
So I think like a few years back, Python and R used to be the top leading
Mhm,
languages for data scientists. But right now,
mhm,
I think Python has overtaken everything. I
mhm,
don't
correct.
hear roles coming in the R section also. So I think
Mhm,
Python should be your top most priority. Talking
mhm,
about DSN stuff, DSN is something that talks about your logical senses, right?
mhm,
So it's
mhm.
not something a mandate, but you should know it at a base level for sure.
Correct.
Probability and
Correct.
statistics is something
So
that I
I think
would
like R was
focus.
quite popular, right? So I mean, like, for the statistical analysis, the R
Yeah.
language is also widely used here. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. So apart from like programming languages, okay, what other skills do you think like that's important for successful data scientist? So yes, is which is helpful for our students or generally the participants who are just walking or watching.
I think reading a lot is required. As I mentioned,
Mhm,
it's a
mhm,
very theoretical field. Like,
mhm,
for example, you might be observing every day some new LLM is coming out. Just
mhm,
giving an
mhm,
example from generative AI arena. So you need to
mhm,
be up to date. The space is
mhm,
changing very rapidly. So you need to
mhm,
know what is the state of the art algorithm. So reading is
mhm,
must. Second
mhm,
thing that I would suggest is to have a business sense. You just
mhm, mhm.
not be a technical guy, but you need to
Correct.
understand, okay, what
Mhm,
metric I am chasing out. Like, if I'm
mhm,
looking, there are two types of metric when you go for a business problem. One is a
mhm,
technical, okay, how good my model is. Other is a
mhm,
business. If the model is built, what is the business profit for that? So understanding the
mhm,
business and reading a lot is something that is on my top priority.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so now I just want to talk about something I've written on, right? So there's a book, the Langchain.
Yeah.
Now Langchain is getting popular, right? So can you just tell about like Langchain? What is the Langchain? It is how, and how it is used in the generative AI in
Yeah, yeah.
simple way.
Yeah. So LangChain is basically a framework, and which is the most popular framework for generative AI applications. So
Mhm,
basically, this framework helps you to create applications using generative AI. So, for example, you have been using LLMs, you're writing prompts, you're getting an answer. This is just
mhm,
one way. Now, if you wish to build out applications, like for
mhm,
example, you wish to create an internet-enabled agent. AI
mhm,
agent is a concept that you might be hearing a lot right now.
mhm,
There is
mhm,
something that you can create using LangChain. LangChain
mhm,
provides you with a lot of functionalities to create different types of application. RAG
mhm,
is one. RAG, you might be
mhm,
hearing a lot, that where you can connect your local documents
mhm,
with LLMs to talk
mhm,
with it. So these things, if you go directly, you would be writing a lot of code. But with
mhm,
LangChain, with such a huge library, it is very easily just import one function and create your
mhm.
application over it.
All right. So your book is focused more on the Langchain side, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
So
right.
the book is entirely on LangChain only.
All right. So now let's talk about like how generative AI is impacting industries in India. Okay. So what kind of changes do you see like happening in the fields like healthcare or any other domain like education or banking?
I think a lot of changes are there.
Mm,
Like we are at the core of it, and we can see that a lot of automation stuff is trying to be like the companies are trying to automate a few things. We
mm,
myself we are automating a number of things.
mm,
Chatbots are improving day by day. So earlier, if you remember, when you log into some, for example, Swiggy or Zomato chatbots, now they
mhm.
are very well advanced.
Correct.
So this has exactly improved the chatbot arena. It has improved quite huge. Apart
Mm,
from that, when you go for Google search, now you can see some summaries coming out. So reading, exploring new information has improved a lot. Talking about
mhm,
healthcare also, I think it hasn't penetrated that much right now. But you
mhm,
might be hearing news that Chat GPT diagnosing certain problems that the doctors were not able to.
mhm,
So it will soon. I think healthcare is not that much impacted, but education has been impacted a lot.
mhm,
And I think it for India to cope up with that advancement is a little difficult, because right
mhm,
now if you see, AI knowledge is not that well versed. People are not aware with okay, what to go with it. So
mhm,
I think the education system is taking a huge impact. Healthcare
mhm.
will soon take an impact, I would say.
Yeah, correct. That so even in the apps which we use, right? So I mean, almost all the applications have started integrating the LLMs, and now we have agentic AI also, right? So yeah, okay. So how do you like approach solving a real world problem? Okay, using the data science, and how do you connect the data science with the generative AI? Like,
See, right now, one problem that you will face is people usually think that generative AI is just writing a prompt.
mm,
For any problem, write a prompt, you will get an answer, and it's done. It
correct.
doesn't work that way when you're working with real world problems. So, I will tell you what are a few issues that everyone
Mm,
should know about. One
mm,
is structuring of the output. You
mhm,
don't know, you can input the same prompt, and you yourself might have observed that you are getting different formats.
correct. Mm,
Right.
mhm,
Now, second problem that you will face is that at times deploying LLMs, like for example, ChatGPT,
mm,
they are not locally deployed. Even if you try to run in your local systems, it requires a lot of GPU.
correct.
So that side of LLMs, when you're talking about real world, you need to provide real world inferencing. I think that is again a big challenge when you try to make a like call the model in the real world problem solution. So I think if you are
Mm.
using, if you might have heard of DeepSeek also right now. So
Yeah,
just check
recently.
the website,
Yeah.
deepseek.com. It is completely down because it has now
Mm.
received so much of a traffic
It
and it
does. So
requires so
initially, I
much
think the
of,
ChatGPT had
yeah,
the same issue, right? So when the ChatGPT
yeah,
was
yeah,
launched, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Apart from that, structuring of the output is important
Mm-hmm.
because it is just giving you a text. Now, when you want to use that text in some other way, like for example, you want to automate the entire process, you
Mm-hmm.
want to draft the email and then send it also. So there are other steps that will also come. Now, to
Correct.
make the output compatible with it becomes an issue. Privacy is an issue. I think
Mm-hmm.
DeepSeek, some controversy is going
Has
on if you are
recently, yeah,
reading the,
recently had some data leak. Huh? I
yeah,
heard it
data
about that.
leakages
Yes.
are there. Yeah, data leakage is going on. Apart from that, there are certain sort of biasness that people have identified, that it is not answering
Mm-hmm.
certain questions.
Mm-hmm.
So these are certain things that people need to understand. So it is
Mm-hmm.
not just prompting, but a lot of things that goes into create a generative AI application.
Correct. Like, what do you think? Like, so generally, when we say like data science, okay, even generally when we take classes, we say like data science is a combination of domain knowledge and the technology, right? So, how important the domain knowledge is? Like, so do you think like domain knowledge is must? Because generally, the student who is getting started into this career, right? So, what do you suggest? I mean, like, how to gain those business? I mean, like the scenarios, or they want to get into this field, and so this is what, because see, if the experienced people have that domain expertise, right? But as a student, when they wanted to as a study, as a career, so what do you suggest, like so what could be the good points so that the student can implement, so they want to get into this field?
So if you're starting off in data science, what one suggest, see, domain knowledge you can't have once you haven't worked in a domain, right? So the
Correct.
point that you're mentioning is
Mhm.
quite correct. But whatever project you do, try to
Mhm.
understand the problem statement. It should not be
Mhm.
a very mechanical solution. Because
Mhm.
right now, if you go to Kaggle also, you would be
Mhm.
getting a number of solutions. They are very, very easily available. So I wish
Mhm.
to understand how, what you make sense of the data set. Like for example, I remember we have some medical data set when I was working with my last company.
Mhm.
We gave
Mhm.
it to some intern who was coming, and he just made a mechanical solution, built a classifier
Mhm.
and all. We asked him, okay, what do you make
Mhm.
sense of these two columns? But he didn't
Okay.
just look at it.
Okay.
So at times there are certain things,
Mhm.
whatever problem statement you work on, you should
Mhm.
understand that domain. It's not like you should understand specifically banking or healthcare, but if you're picking
Mhm.
up Titanic, try to
Mhm.
understand what does cabin mean, what does
Correct.
the
Mhm.
total count of passenger mean,
Mhm.
and how they are related.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you just give me like a complete roadmap? Okay, if someone is got to get into the generative AI, okay, this is what they want to learn the lang chain. Okay, so can you just give me a short roadmap? Okay, so that it will be helpful.
So see, right now what I'm observing is that a number of people wish to jump into generative AI because of the
Mhm.
hype. It's
Mhm.
correct, you should be.
Mhm.
But
Mhm. Mhm.
one thing you need to make sure is that whether you wish to be on A side of generative or B side. Now, what
Yeah.
do I mean by that? A side is mostly using the LLM, right?
Mhm.
You go,
Mhm.
you are able to pull it from Hugging Face or Chat GPT. You learn some prompt techniques, and you are able to use it. The B side is more the technical part where we come in. We are building
Mhm.
out AI agents. We are trying to understand how to build a RAG application. We are trying to fine tune the LLM. So, first of all, that would be a requirement. You need to understand whether I wish to be the technical guy or I wish to be the applied guy. Once that is
Mhm.
done, I think jumping onto generative AI straight away might look very fancy. But I
Mhm.
think first of all, if you wish to be a good data scientist,
Mhm.
try to go with the basics of data science first. Try to understand the
Mhm.
basic machine learning algorithms. Don't
Mhm.
jump into the mathematics, but
Mhm.
try to have an intuitive understanding of things.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Right now, once you are done, I think there are a few concepts that you should go in generative AI. A few common ones that I can tell you is prompt
Mhm.
engineering is must.
Mhm.
Still, also, I think right now the LLMs have evolved a lot, but still,
Mhm.
prompting is something that can make or break a game. Like I have been
Correct.
observing that a
Mhm.
certain change in the word and your answer changes completely.
Correct.
So,
Mhm.
prompting is one, I would say. Apart from that, AI agents is something that is coming out, and AI agent is not very complicated. Like I have been
Mhm.
working on AI agents from last 1 year, and I'm
Mhm.
writing a book also on that.
Okay, that's
So
great. Okay.
yeah, it is more of a intuitive understanding how what is an agent. An agent is
Mhm.
like making the text that is coming out of an LLM
Mhm.
useful in an application. So like what the example that I gave you, like
Mhm.
sending emails.
Mhm.
So the LLM or Chat GPT can just generate the text. Now the
Mhm.
remaining process, cleaning up the
Mhm.
text, how to send,
Mhm.
how to create an email out of it, how to press that button to send
Mhm.
the email,
Mhm.
that entire process has to be written by you. That is
Mhm.
what AI agent would be doing.
Mhm.
Other concept is RAG is a must. I think you might be hearing a lot. People are using the already trained LLMs over their
Mhm.
data set without fine
Mhm.
tuning it. And
Mhm.
last thing I would suggest is to read about fine tuning also. You
Mhm.
might not be able to do it because it requires a lot of GPU, a lot of
Correct.
hardware is required, but just
Mhm.
have a hang. Ki how, what do you mean by fine tuning?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So we have very popular question. Okay, so can someone without technical background get into the data science?
Technical in sense what? Like in terms of
Without
coding you're talking about?
technical background. Okay, so they have not into a technical. Generally, they're not into science domain, or they're not into the CS domain. Like the graduates from BCom or BCA. Okay, so
Yeah,
what do you
yeah.
think?
I think yeah. I will tell you a very like my
Mm,
observation. So like I've been
yeah.
working for 5 years,
Okay.
and just 10% of the grads from CSE are in data science.
Oh, see, that could be yeah.
Very
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That is very shocking for me also. And my last
Mhm.
organization, they were
Mhm.
a guy from geopolitics, I remember, or one
Mhm.
from
So
geology
what do you
also.
think? Like, so is it because of skills that the skill set they have, or like?
Not really. I will tell you
Mhm.
why that happens, because most of the CS grads in our country are more tended toward software development. Because from
Mhm.
the word go in their college, they go with
Mhm.
code forces, and
Mhm.
data science is something that you need to go and explore on your own. There won't be much
Mhm.
guys in your college also to drive you out. Because I remember
Mhm.
when I was passing out, I was the only guy who went into machine learning and data science room out of a
Mhm.
batch of 300.
Mhm.
So it is a less explored domain at that time. And still, I think if you compare with software development jobs compared to machine learning jobs,
Mhm.
the disparity is huge. So
Mhm.
once a CS grad joins, I think mostly he tends with the mindset that I need to be a software developer.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the guys, if you just check their LinkedIn profiles also, I think you
Mm-hmm.
will find that not more than 20 or 30% of the grads would be computer science. So it's very, very
Yeah.
normal to come from a different domain. Very, very normal.
Domains. Correct. Okay, so what do you think about the certifications and internships? Okay, so generally people think, okay, so if we have a lot of certifications, we have done a lot of courses, and we have done a few internships. Okay, is it like great? I mean, like, is it a good idea like for any student, like if they think like doing internship or certification will help them get a better job?
See, internship is a great thing. Internship you should
Mm-hmm.
be doing because internship gives you a real world application. Like you jump into the real world arena. You are not
Mm-hmm.
like still working with Titanic only. You would get actually
Mm-hmm.
how the real data looks like. Real data is trash.
Correct.
Most of our time goes in cleaning that up, like what are the different anomalies present in the data set. So
Mm-hmm.
applying the machine learning algorithm, as I already mentioned, everything is already present in Python. You just need to import and
Mm-hmm.
run one line of code. So
Correct.
mostly understanding the data is a real challenge for that. So I think this is what I would suggest. Key, try to understand data only. And I just forget the question. I think I just
Yeah, no, no, that's okay. So
yeah.
I was asking about the internships and the
Yeah, yeah.
certifications. Learning.
So internships are a must because without a real world application, you won't understand the problem statement, like how the real world data science work.
Mm-hmm.
Certification is something if you wish to go for the knowledge. I won't suggest you to look at certification as something that will pump up your profile. It won't. And because we
Mm-hmm.
also take interviews, it's very rare that I look at someone's certification. And
Exactly.
right now, getting a certificate is you also know it's quite easy.
Okay.
But go for the knowledge because once you're starting off, you won't have the correct roadmap how
Mm-hmm.
to get started. What topic should I learn first, then the second and the third. So
Correct.
if you're going for a course or what, go for the knowledge, but don't focus too much on the certificates. This is what I would suggest.
Okay. So can you share like some of the challenges you have faced? I mean, like while working with the Gen AI models, any challenges you
Yeah,
have faced?
many. Yeah, I think many challenges are there.
Mm,
One of the most prominent challenge is getting a static output in a given
mm,
format. Like for
mhm,
example, if you I wish to get a list of strings, but
mm,
eventually what will happen? The LLM would be generating at times a list, at times it would be giving you a comma separated string, at time it would be giving you a prefix before the okay, this is the answer and then the list. Now,
mm,
when you're building an application, you don't want that extra text,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So getting a predefined formatted output is a huge challenge with LLMs. Apart from that, data privacy is an issue, like
mhm,
as I
mhm,
already mentioned. So we need to be very careful what data we can send and what data we can't send, because at times there would be some lacunas. When you're working with a company, you really can't send everything. There are certain rules. You will get a
mhm,
prompt on the system key, no, 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 you should not be sending this data, and be careful. So data
mhm,
privacy is another issue. As mentioned, LLMs are huge.
mhm,
So working with the APIs is fine, working on Chat GPT UI is fine, but when you're
mhm,
handling the model on your own,
mhm,
that
mhm,
becomes a
mhm,
humongous challenge. Then you are going for concepts like quantization, like reducing the memory it is occupying. There are multiple techniques to reduce the size of the model.
mhm,
The fourth one is evaluating the outputs.
mhm,
Like very subjective. Like if you get a summary of an article, how would you rate it? It is good
mhm,
or bad. It's very subjective, right? I might
mhm,
be saying that the summary was shit, but someone else
mhm.
would be saying no, it was great.
Great.
So it's not 0-1. It's a very
Correct.
subjective answer that comes in.
Mm.
So these are some challenges that you will face when you're working with generative AI applications and
Okay.
LLMs.
So can you give like some of the real-time application? I mean, like we have seen like the chatbot. Okay. So apart from that, what do you think? Like, what could be real-time application currently we're using in some of the applications? Uh,
Multiple things I would say. AI agents, once AI agents comes in, you can do multiple things. For
mhm,
example, I think Chat GPT just released operators, if you have heard of it. So with
mhm,
operators, it can book tickets for you. It's not just
mhm,
outputting a text,
mhm.
it is
So I
booking
think
tickets for you.
Agentic AI is bringing the automation, I guess, right?
Yeah, the automation part is coming from that. I think in content creation, I have been using quite actively on my YouTube channel also. Like
Mhm.
I have set up a script that can create YouTube videos for me completely with my
Okay.
audio,
Oh, all right.
because
Okay.
now there are audio cloning applications like LLMs are also there that can
All
clone
right.
your audio. There
Mm.
are applications that can generate videos, so just you need to sync them up. So many
Um,
things are like I just can't like it's numerous. It's numerous.
mm. Okay. Let's wait for the participant if they can share any questions. Yes. So we have quite good numbers. So yes, if you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. All right. So meanwhile, okay. So do you have any like tips for the students who want to get into the hands-on experience with the Gen AI or the tools like LangChain? So what is the best way to practice and learn?
One thing I would suggest is to keep track of Hugging Face.
Mhm,
Is Hugging Face is a underrated place to learn about generative AI, to be very honest,
mhm.
because
Yeah.
I think people haven't explored it much. It
Mhm,
has numerous models that you
mhm,
can load for
mhm,
all, everything open source goes to Hugging Face. They
mhm,
also have AI applications deployed for free to use.
mhm,
So most of the very exciting applications for like editing images using AI, generating audio
mhm,
clips, whatever you'll be finding
mhm,
on Hugging Face. So keep a track on Hugging Face.
mhm,
Apart from that, GitHub trending is something that I would suggest go and follow that. GitHub
mhm,
trending is basically you will get the trending repos on generative AI,
mhm.
and people are like one of the repos that I remember that excited me a lot was an AI agent applying for jobs on your behalf. So you just need
Oh.
that, you just run that repo in your local
That's it.
system,
Uh-huh.
and it is applying for on your behalf with your resume on LinkedIn.
Mhm,
So you will get some crazy ideas there.
mhm. Okay.
GitHub
So
repo
because you
that.
said like even you have taken some interviews, okay. So can you tell some common mistakes, okay, what generally students do like when they get into the interviews part?
Okay. So in that case, what I would suggest is they don't understand the business. I think this is a very common mistake. If I ask them,
Mhm,
okay, why did you build it?
mhm, mhm.
Leave about this is a binary classification or what are the metrics. I ask them, why did you build? What was the business requirement of this? Why was this
Mhm,
binary classification required also? At times,
mhm,
people get stuck on that.
mhm,
Apart from that, what I would say is people try to show very difficult projects, but they don't give a hands on. I think as an
mhm,
interviewer, you're not really looking at complexity.
mhm,
You really wish whatever you have done, it should be very clear to you.
mhm,
Even if you're, I remember I got shortlisted for one of the top startups in the country for
mhm,
my internship. I did
mhm.
Titanic in my resume. I mentioned Titanic
Okay.
data. So
Okay.
one of the most layman projects on
Yes, it was. It
Kaggle.
was quite popular that time, okay, when the machine learning started and
Yeah. And right now
Titanic and the
also,
Iris data set. Iris.
Iris data set is also the household regression.
uh, Boston data
So
set. Okay, these are the quite
yeah.
popular.
Yeah. So whatever you go with, have a
Mhm,
complete understanding. If you don't mention in your resume, because 90% of the time the interviewer won't be asking outside of your resume. 90% of
mhm,
the time.
mhm.
So
So how
if you
important
understand,
the project is like because so again the same question because as a student I'm thinking in terms of students perspective, okay, so because if they wanted to build any good projects, so what do you suggest like some tips or tricks like so that they can implement some good projects on their own.
I think one mistake that I've seen commonly is that they try to copy from somewhere. Like you
Mhm,
don't need to find a project. Try to understand this. If you
mhm,
have a data set, build a data analytical report only. No worries. If you
mhm,
get Titanic, build an analytical report. Show me what insights you got from the data. That is
mhm,
more than a project for me, at least when I
mhm,
interview. So don't
mhm,
look out for problem statements on the internet, right?
mhm,
If you just wish to have some sort of an idea, as already mentioned, Kaggle is one place, GitHub trending is one place.
mhm,
If you can bring in some unique idea with very simple application or with a very simple technical details also, it is more than enough because people really wish to see how innovative you are.
correct. Mhm. So
Yeah.
even they are building small projects also that has to be done by themselves. That's what you want.
Yeah. And if it can be unique, that would be great. Because I think
Mhm.
right now with Chat GPT coming in,
Mhm.
coding is not that tough, right? You can
So,
get code
like,
snippets
what
from
do you
your.
think? Like, is fresher? I mean, like the one who has just passed out. Okay, they are into like assume like they are learning all the generative AI. They are good in LLMs. So, is it possible to get into some good roles? I mean, like as a fresher.
Yeah, right now the market is quite bad,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
for freshers, and data science roles require people really don't jump with freshers, like they don't really go with fresh grads. This problem I faced also, but I think
Mm-hmm.
still. You should try for an internship first. If you have some
Mm-hmm.
hands-on experience, I think getting into a full-time role won't be that difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So let's wait for the questions. Okay. So if you have any questions from the participants.
Uh,
All right. So anything from your side, Mehul, like before closing off, like you wanted to share something or across students of various background. We have different age groups. Okay. So anything which you want to share to audience.
One thing that I would very specifically mention is that try to get a hands on generative AI for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ignore it. Don't be in ignorance. Like you might be hearing some uh, audio, like some people saying that no, no, this might not replace us. We are fine. It will impact you. It is
Mm-hmm.
impacting. It has started. It has slowly started impacting some roles, and it will
Mm-hmm.
impact you. So better be in like delusion. Try to pace up yourself with whatever is coming. Try to have your hands with whatever new is coming, and try to build things. Try to be more innovative, because the days of being a technical pro-ness is now gone, because models like DeepSeek R1 and right now I think ChatGPT OpenAI released O3 Mini also. These models are very good with coding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now your role would be more towards what ideas to get coded,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the innovative part of your brain should now get activated, and try to think in terms of application. What useful applications can I build, rather than
Mm-hmm.
focusing more towards the coding part? This is something that I would
Okay, so we
suggest.
have one question from Narayan. Okay, let's take up that. So he's asking, sir, how much can I expect for generative AI engineer with 1 year of experience as a data scientist?
Like you are asking
Yeah, I
about
think it's in terms
the
of pay, I guess. Yeah,
com-
he's telling I can expect. Yeah.
CC, I really can't comment on this right now because the market is not that good,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I think generative AI engineer, there are certain roles coming out, but for 1 year of experience of data scientist, I'm not sure. So I really
Mm-hmm.
can't comment on the numbers. I really don't have that much of an idea on this.
Okay.
Really sorry.
Okay. Sorry, Narayan. Okay. So let's wait if you have any other questions. All right, Mehul. Thanks for sharing all your valuable insights, and I'm sure like a lot of students will find this really helpful. Okay, so before we sign off, so if anything, okay, so we have one last question from Thomas. Let's take up. Okay, so hey Mehul, like what is the current tech stack like which you are using apart from the LangChain, especially with better tools coming frequently?
I think that's a pretty good question. So LangChain, according to me, now is outdated. So
Mm.
because I wrote this book 1 year back, I think just last week only I completed 1 year of this book.
Okay.
So now multiple things have come up. AI agents you might be hearing a lot. So try to focus on that. One of
Mhm,
the most prominent framework in that arena is LangGraph. That is again
mhm,
coming from LangChain. You can
mhm,
explore that. AutoGen is one. You can
mhm,
explore that. LangChain is still there.
mhm,
Apart from that, you might have heard of Cursor and Klein coding
mhm,
IDs. I'm not sure if
mhm,
you've heard. Do try
mhm,
them out. So they are
mhm,
crazingly good for
mhm,
like automating your coding stuff on your ID. So Cursor
mhm,
and Klein multi-agent frameworks like LangGraph,
mhm,
I think they are pretty good. You should
mhm.
go with that.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mehul. So thank you for joining. Thank you so much. And whatever the insights you have given, it is really helpful for our students. Okay. So yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.